Okay, Brian, we're looking at this question number 12, and the passenger side power window operates properly when using the passenger side control switch. However, the window operates in the down position only when the driver's side master switch is used or control switch is used. So that's telling me that the driver's switch, the one that's in the master switch, is not working properly, but the passenger can operate his switch. You suggested there was an open circuit wire in the driver's side window motor, okay, or a ground in the power wire to the power window circuit breaker. All right, we'll look at both of those. We'll have a look at the wiring diagram. We'll go to the next slide. So here we have our window switch. This is the window switch that operates the window. We've only got the two window switches. So we'll imagine that this one here is our main switch, and this one here is the one on the passenger switch. So we'll have a better look at that. We'll go to the next slide. And here we go. This is what switch? This is the driver master switch. So the next switch is the left-hand, we'll call it the rear door. I think it didn't say rear door, but left-hand rear door window switch. So it doesn't matter. There's two switches. So we now know the different switches. Now I've added some colour to help us understand the wiring circuit. We've got our battery and our fuse. That's a fuse. So we can see power in red going through to the fuse, going through to the ignition switch. This is our circuit breaker. So that's another protection device so that when the current gets too high, if it does get too high, it will cause that to open circuit. It resets automatically when the current drops off. Then we come through, we've got power going down here. Oh, this one's green, but it should be red. That line there should be red. Just forgive me there, but imagine that's red. So each one of these terminals are open circuit because the switch is on the green side, which is the ground side. That's the ground side. But on these sides that none of the switches are resting on are all power. They all come from the battery. So at the moment, the motors, these are the two motors here. All the time, the motors, when the switches aren't being operated, are just sitting on the ground side, so there's no current flowing. It's all open circuit, there's no current, and both sides will go to ground. The idea of these switches is when you switch it up, it'll flick over, and that will give you, even though that's green, that should be red, that will give you power all the way back to the battery. So the electrons go from ground, so they'll come up from the ground, they will go through here, they go through the motor, and they come back up this way. And don't forget this switch, imagine the switch is on power now, and it will come back up and power all the way and return back to the battery. So that's how the switch works, and it works the opposite to go down, except that this time we have ground on this side and we have power on this side. Okay, so that's why the motor will turn the opposite way to go up or down. And the same on this switch here. So just keep that in mind. We'll have a look at I think that's the last slide I've got. So yeah, so if you say that the right hand, this is a right hand motor, the right hand master switch, if you say that this motor has an open circuit, right? If it's got an open circuit, there's no way that this motor on the driver's side can work, because every time you go to up or down, there's an open circuit in that motor, and there's no way the current can keep flowing to return back. So there's nothing wrong with the driver's side window, so it works fine. So it can't be an open circuit in the driver's side motor. Now, the other thing you said, there was a short to ground in the power. So, and the circuit breaker was the problem. If the circuit breaker was a problem, what would happen? There'd be no more power going to this side of the circuit, so it cannot be that either. So, knowing that the passenger window works perfectly, we know that we have power going to this switch. We know that we got power going to this switch to go up. What can the problem be? What can the problem be? Can it be something in this switch? It's for you to answer, but yeah, I don't believe you've answered the question correctly. This switch here, by the way, this switch here, even though it's showing open, it must be closed, because if it was open, it's a safety thing to lock out the passenger doors so that the windows won't work, particularly if you've got children in the car. We don't want the windows to open. But the passenger side window is working by the passenger's switch, so we know that that switch is closed. All right, I hope that helps you.